Today we are going to kind of bust some myths. I think it's very important for everyone to understand what is realistic body fat percentages that you should have when you're looking a certain way, when you're doing a show. And really the only reason I want to go over this is because you'll go to these clinics and fitness centers and whatever, and it'll say your body fat's, for a female, it'll say your body fat's 21%, 22%. Well, that's actually really, really good for a female. You know, a fit female is right around 19, 20%. Someone who's on stage, like when Ashley gets on stage, she'll be like 15%. And everyone's like, oh, she was...
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Because their favorite Instagram model just posted that they were 6% body fat.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that happen?
Absolutely. And so, you know, you'll see a lot of like rookie trainers, and they'll just started in training and they'll be like, oh, my client's 7%, she's a female. Just so you know, like, and I'm not like trying to bash on anyone. It's just that it's not fair for a young girl to go in, get her body fat tested, say she's 20% and her not be happy about that, because that's actually really, really good, and we want to make sure that you guys are happy and know what's realistic. So when Ashley was at her absolute leanest, which was the Mile High last year, because we killed it for that show, she was in the 14s, like, but barely in the 14s, like probably 14.6.
And that's the leanest I've ever been. And yeah. I might say at one point maybe I was a little bit too lean. I'm not that lean anymore, obviously, but I'm still prepping for a show. And it's crazy to think that, like, when I tell people, like, yeah, I'm 16% body fat, they're like, no, how? Because I saw so-and-so just post that she's like in the single digit percentages of body fat. And I think there's like a big like thing now that, like, especially on social media, that people like to brag about like their body fat.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in return, like you said, young girls get the wrong idea, like, oh man, I'm fat, you know? And yeah. Let's be honest, at the end of the day, does it really matter what your body fat is, as long as you look good? I think you should go more off of like how you look in the mirror, rather than a body fat, because somebody with a lower body fat isn't necessarily going to look better, especially like in the sport of bikini.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in the sport of bikini.
It's all about a look. It's not a body fat contest. It's all about a look. So I will say, and just so you guys know, this is factual information. It's not something that we're kind of just saying. The only female I've ever seen get under 10% was Heather Grace, and she will even self-admittedly say that she barely got under 10%, and that was with a DEXA scan, and that's the most accurate way of doing body fat. That's the only person I've ever seen to get there, and that was when she got third at the Olympia in women's physique. So she had striated glutes, her lower back was fully striated and detailed, she looked awesome, and that's a division where body fat really isn't, where they don't put a hold on it. You know, you get as lean, pretty much as lean as you want in women's physique to a point, and she pretty much got there. So obviously, if you don't have that type of striations in your glutes, you're not under 10%, and so we got to be realistic. So yeah, Ashley, you know, 15.5%, that's great for her to get on stage right there. So
yeah. I think it's important to also bust this other myth, because I get asked this question from time to time, like, what percentage of body fat do I need to be at to get abs? And I'll give you the simple answer, and then I'll go more detailed. Yeah. But we all distribute fat in different places. So for me, I kind of get a little bit leaner in my midsection compared to, let's say, my thighs. But some people will be the opposite. Some people will get lean in their legs, but their stomach is holding onto a lot of fat. So it kind of happens when your body wants it to happen, not necessarily a certain body fat.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's really, a lot of that's based on genetics. And the other thing too is based on ab development. If you have really deep abs, really deep, you know, like development in your abs, so you can see the separation in between them, you're gonna have abs at a higher percentage of body fat. So if Ashley, she's got really well developed abs from running all the track her whole life and doing all these things, so her abs will pop up. Yeah, when she's 20%, her abs will still kind of be there a little bit, you know. And then when she gets to 15%, she looks like she is 10% because her abs are so developed. So that's another tip for you too. It's actually like this kind of like, hey, it doesn't matter what your body fat is, because you can have abs if they're developed at pretty much 20%. So, but yeah, it comes down to body fat distribution, and it's going to come off your abs when it comes off your abs, and that's just how it is. So one of the things is there's a lot of different ways of getting your body fat tested, and I want to make sure that you're doing it the right way so you're realistic about what you actually are. Now, what a body fat percentage really is, all it is a number to use some type of tracking system with. So today we use the InBody, and the InBody has, like, you know, Ashley's readings. It has her weight, her body fat, her lean mass, all that. I know that that's not the most accurate way of doing it. We also use a 3D scan. That's also not the most accurate way of doing it. But it gives us numbers to go off of. So if it's inaccurate by 2%, well, it's going to be inaccurate by 2% pretty much every time you do it. So it shows us how much body fat she's actually losing and if we're on track, if we're tapping into losing lean mass, which we want to be aware of. But the number one best way of doing your body fat percentage is the DEXA scan. After that, it goes to hydrostatic weighing where they dunk you in the water. After that, it would go to either a 3D scan or bioelectrical impedance, which is what we just did with the holding the hands. You've seen the 3D scan. And then some of the worst ways of doing it, just so you know, is going to be the handheld bioelectrical impedance. They use this little machine. It's $20, so you don't expect much out of a machine that's $20. The scales at home, same thing. They're not super accurate. That's why these machines are like $7,000 and the ones at home are like 50. You know, it just, there's a big difference between the two in the accuracies. And then the worst way pretty much of doing it is the skin fold calipers, okay? Because they have different methods. They have a 3 site, they have a 4 site, and they have a 7 site skin fold calipers. And you need someone who's really, really trained to do that for that to be accurate. You know, if you don't have a trainer who's been doing 1,000 of those, you're probably gonna get an inaccurate body fat reading, and especially with the 7 site. I would never use that one because it notoriously tells females they're under 10%, and it's just not the case. So hopefully you use that as a tip when you're getting your body fat tested so you can be realistic with what your numbers are. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I know this isn't our usual type of video. We're usually high energy and whatnot, but this is very important, very, to me, a very disturbing topic because women who are 18 to 20% are starting to think that they're out of shape, and that is an awesome shape for a woman. So if you know someone who's, you know, prepping for a show or who maybe thinks that they're, you know, not in the right percentage of body fat when they actually look really good, show them this video because this is a myth busting video, and this is not coming from me. This is coming from experts who've designed body fat charts for who's fit, who's unhealthy, who's super fit, and they are the ones saying, you know what, 18 to 20% for a female is right on. So you have anything for them, Ashley?
I think that's it for today. I think we covered a lot of helpful information for everyone out there. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned a little bit.
Like it, share it, subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.